family, and I got 3 kids now, and it's a whole long road later, and I have a much better sort of perspective on it all, although it still can be very confusing and difficult to deal with.
I'm quite sure they probably called, and the FBI gave the courtesy call of being Affleck. It's a white man who got respect in the white world. I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things. It's about your wife.
During the federal raids on Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami earlier this year, it was reported that Diddy had cameras everywhere in his house and that he kept videotapes of prominent people engaging in compromising actions and illicit activities hidden in his safe.
Ben Affleck is now fully turning against his ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, and according to reports, he's prepared to testify that Jennifer knew all about Diddy's criminal activities. And apparently, this has been building up for a while. Since the FBI raided Diddy's mansion. Rumor has it, the authorities got their hands on a secret tape Diddy recorded of Jennifer, and that tape may have played a major role in their breakup. Now, Ben is ready to expose to the entire world.
Around Diddy, did you ever see him put his hands on Jennifer Lopez?
Well, he didn't do any violence to Mrs. J-Lo. That's why I didn't see any violence. It's a different breed, bruh. He wasn't going to risk himself like that. And plus, a lot of people didn't like him. J-Lo mother didn't like him. Benny Medina didn't like him. If he would have ever touched Miss Lopez in any kind of aggressive way, she would have said something. Man, listen to me. The whole Bronx would have been on Puff. It's a different class. He knew that she was an actress, she was a singer. He did put her on a pedestal, but he still was seeing Kim. So I don't think that she had those experiences. People only do what you let them do. If he would have did that to her, he would only had one time. You see, when he ran out the club and left her after that shooting at China, she ain't want to be with them up no more.
Just how deep Jennifer's involvement really was in everything Diddy had going on. And trust me, this does not look good. So buckle up, because this story is about to get seriously messy. Even though their divorce happened a while ago, it looks like the drama between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck is far from over. And this time, things are getting seriously wild. Word on the street is that Ben is now ready to speak out, and what he has to say about Jennifer's connection to Diddy's crimes is reportedly way more intense than anyone originally believed. Some people are even speculating that Jennifer may have acted as Diddy's handler at one point. Now, apparently, Ben's decision to come forward came after some major tea was spilled by none other than Suge Knight. Yeah, that Suge Knight. Following the federal raid on Diddy's homes, Suge, who's currently serving time for a fatal hit-and-run, now hosts a prison podcast called Collect Calls with Suge Knight. And in one of his episodes last year, he dropped a bombshell theory about what was really going on behind the scenes of Ben and Jennifer's split. According to Suge, this whole thing isn't just some typical Hollywood mess. He claims it's directly tied to the FBI's explosive raid on Sean Diddy Combs' properties late last year. And, according to him, agents didn't just walk out of Diddy's house with documents, they allegedly left with tapes, and not just any tapes. Suge says some of those recordings show Jennifer Lopez involved in things that are highly questionable. Suge didn't hold back at all. He even brought up Jennifer's connection to that infamous 1999 nightclub shooting, the one that sent rapper Shine to prison and was all over the headlines. Suge claims those tapes could actually prove that Jennifer wasn't being honest about what really happened, and that she may have let Shine take the fall to protect Diddy. But here's where it gets even messier. Suge alleges that the FBI showed those tapes to Ben Affleck. And according to him, it wasn't just a heads up. This was serious. The agents allegedly sat Ben down and said, "We need to show you something about your wife." And what Ben reportedly saw completely shook him. Suge described Ben as someone who walked into this relationship with a normal, peaceful life. Someone who wasn't wrapped up in the chaos of Hollywood. But after what he saw on those tapes, he was done. And now, it looks like Ben is ready to expose what Jennifer really knew and how deep her connection to Diddy's world went. Let's not forget, Diddy and Jennifer had a headline-dominating relationship from 1999 to 2001, and there were even reports that Diddy tried to win her back after their breakup. But with Diddy now facing multiple lawsuits and jaw-dropping accusations, that old chapter from Jennifer's past is suddenly front and center again. And if Soog's claims are true, and if Ben is really preparing to testify, then it's starting to look like Diddy might actually be the real reason their marriage crumbled. And honestly, it wouldn't be the first time Jennifer's ties to Diddy blew up one of her relationships. Let's rewind for a second to the late 90s, when Jennifer was just starting to make it big. Her first husband, Ojani Noah, thought he had married the woman of his dreams. But according to him, that dream turned into a nightmare. And the cause? None other than Sean Diddy Combs. At the time, Diddy was dominating the music industry with Bad Boy Records, while Jennifer was being crowned Hollywood's next big star. And according to that jaw-dropping interview Ojani Noah did with Despierta America, yeah, that changed everything. According to Ojani, the moment Jennifer started working with Diddy on her debut album On the Six, the entire vibe shifted. That's when the distance crept in. While Ojani was grinding in L.A., trying to open his own restaurant, Jennifer was flying coast to coast, bouncing between Miami and New York, spending long late nights in the studio with Diddy. And out of nowhere she started acting. Different. Cold. Distant. Secretive. Ojani says that's when he knew something wasn't right. That Diddy wasn't just a producer or music mentor. He was becoming something way more personal in Jennifer's life. And this is where it gets really messy. Ojani claims their split wasn't just a breakup. It was a full-blown takedown. He says Jennifer dragged him to court, spread lies about him, had him blacklisted from major TV networks, and even made calls to make sure no one would hire him. He says he was left completely blindsided, begging her to explain why she was trying to ruin him, and she never gave him a single answer. Not long after, their marriage completely collapsed. And right on cue, Jennifer stepped out publicly with Diddy, and the headlines exploded. The ultimate bad boy of hip-hop and Hollywood's rising Latina queen? It was a pairing no one saw coming, but the world couldn't look away. Diddy said it was love at first sight. Jenny wasn't into him at first, but the chemistry, undeniable. When they showed up to the MTV VMAs together, instant pop culture history. The diamond chains, the iconic Versace dresses, the paparazzi chaos. It was peak early 2000s magic. But behind the red carpet glam was a story full of betrayal, ambition, and calculated moves. And if you ask Ojani, he says he was the first casualty of the Diddy and Jenny era. And now, it looks like Ben Affleck just joined that club. For whatever reason, Diddy seems to have a hold over Jennifer. And that's what's got everyone talking. Because even though Jennifer is allegedly tied to some serious crimes involving Diddy, this man didn't even treat her right. See, from the outside, their relationship looked like pure perfection. Glitz, glam, and power. But behind the scenes, it was chaos. Toxic rumors swirled for years. There were whispers that Diddy was so reckless Jennifer would be banging on hotel room doors trying to find him. And while she's always denied the most dramatic stories, even Jennifer herself admitted in past interviews that their relationship put her through absolute hell. In one clip, she said, "I never caught him, but I knew. He'd say he was going to a club and then just never come home. And it gets worse." In a 2003 interview with Vibe magazine, Jennifer didn't hold back. She said being with Diddy nearly drove her insane. Her exact words? "It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful. I was in a relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin. But the humiliation, it didn't stop there." One infamous story, never confirmed, but always whispered in the background, claims Diddy actually cheated on her while she was upstairs at her own party. Yeah. She allegedly threw him this beautiful, thoughtful celebration, and while she was playing the perfect partner, he was downstairs doing her dirty. If that story's true, that's villain origin story territory. So when Jennifer finally left, it wasn't some glamorous breakup moment. It was survival. But Diddy, he didn't believe her. By then, their relationship had been on again. Off again so many times, he thought she was bluffing. But she wasn't. She was done. The world thought she moved on, but according to insiders, Jennifer never really came out the same. Her sparkle dimmed. Her trust issues? Sky high. And if you believe the whispers, the scars Diddy left behind haunted her for years. Some say the emotional damage from that roller coaster relationship laid the foundation for cracks in her marriage to Ben, decades later. Sounds like a stretch. Just wait. Once we unpack Jennifer's relationship history post-Diddy, it becomes very clear. The ghost of Puff Daddy never stopped following her. And now, with Diddy at the center of a bombshell trafficking investigation, people are starting to wonder, why hasn't Jennifer ever truly exposed him? Maybe she's scared. And maybe that fear is real. Because way back in 2002, Jennifer Lopez sat down with Diane Sawyer for a primetime exclusive. And what she said back then is resurfacing now. And suddenly, her words hit completely differently. Diane Sawyer rolls out a dramatic montage, flashes of Jennifer and Diddy at their peak, owning the red carpet like royalty. The cameras, the couture, the undeniable chemistry. And just as you're soaking in the glam, Diane drops a chilling voiceover. He always seemed to be the one in control. Then she cuts straight to the point. Were you afraid? And here's where it gets interesting. Jennifer doesn't even flinch. She calmly says she wasn't afraid, but the way she says it, you can feel something deeper underneath. Her exact words, I cared very deeply for Sean. We just didn't have the same kind of ideals about life and family. Sounds polished, almost diplomatic, until she hits you with the real truth. It wasn't a good relationship for me. And then? She opens up in a way that feels way more personal than people realized at the time. She says she had to learn how to care about herself more, that she had to set boundaries, that she had to stop putting up with things just because she loved someone. Then comes the line, the one that feels like it's echoing directly into today's headlines. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was just being himself. And if I was unhappy, then I was the one who had to do something. Let that sink in. Back then, Jennifer was walking a tightrope, trying to stay graceful and classy in front of the world, while still dropping clues that behind the flashbulbs there was chaos. But now, with Diddy facing explosive charges, trafficking, racketeering, prostitution, those vague reflections from 2 decades ago hit completely different. Suddenly, that old interview doesn't sound like just a celebrity breakup story. It sounds like a woman who is trying to protect herself without lighting the whole thing on fire. So you have to wonder, was Jennifer protecting her image? Protecting him? Or was she trying to warn us, in the only way she could? One thing's for sure, the past isn't staying buried anymore. And every old quote, every cryptic answer, it's starting to feel like a puzzle piece in something much darker. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know what you think. And don't forget to check out our other videos for more deep dives and celeb tea.